Person one loves person two. Guess what? Shenanigans ensue. Person one hates person two. Guess what? Still shenanigans ensue. Person one fake dates person two. Guess what? You guessed it. Shenanigans ensue. Co-host one reports to co-host two. The name of the show? Shenanigans ensue. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Shenanigans Ensue.
A podcast where
I could never make a good pot roast.
you need good beef. Argentina has great beef. Beef and Nazis.
No cap.
I've still never successfully used no cap without being entirely ironic, so I'm extremely impressed.
I had to really control my voice to make sure that sarcasm wasn't penetrating in there, and I'm not entirely sure I was successful.
I thought it was incredible.
Well, sold.
I'm never even gonna try. I'm a coward. So
Each episode we'll watch a rom-com and discuss its merits as a member of the rom-com genre.
we'll cover well-worn classics, hidden gems, and everything in between.
We'll give you our unsolicited opinion on every trope, caper, and flim-flam the film used, or maybe abused.
And of course, the
shenanigans. Wait, I need to orientate myself because this is coming out in 2025, but it was intended to be our Halloween episode.
It was. We really fully intended to have a Halloween episode covering the creepiest thing we could imagine, which is lying about being the fiance of someone in a coma.
In a coma.
And then somehow, this film won us over, and we decided it's not Halloween-y anymore.
No, neither of us have seen this film before, and we were pleasantly surprised to discover that it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. So we pivoted, and that's why you are now hearing an episode about the movie while you were sleeping.
Yes. Oh, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy 2025.
2025. May the new year be incredible and perfect and give you everything you want.
Yes. May it be filled with magic and joy and whimsy.
Yay, we love that.
Big fans of whimsy here.
Truly, when I thought about the concept of the film, if you look this up, they don't give you a lot of information, right? You look up a
No.
synopsis, woman lies about being fiancé of man in coma. That's so creepy.
It's beyond disturbing.
And yet somehow they pulled it off.
I don't know how. I mean, one of the main reasons is that Sandra Bullock is so charming. And I think that's a huge contributing factor.
Yeah.
Also, she kind of gets swept along by everyone else being enablers.
Honestly.
And almost bullying her.
Basically, none of the lies are her
This
fault.
poor woman.
She's just trying to be easygoing.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, too, because my frame of reference for Sandra is really Miss Congeniality, right? And then the things she's done since then are a much stronger personality type. So to watch her in an earlier film be such a...
Softy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so easy to manipulate, this character. She's so soft and gentle. I'm just worried about her safety.
Yes.
So it's such a departure from how I consider Sandra Bullock in my head.
Especially because on the pod, we're pretty hot off her and the proposal.
Yeah. Which is how I imagine her nowadays.
Right. And she also plays a Lucy in 2 Weeks' Notice, and that Lucy is completely different.
I think this is just the whole thing with Hollywood. They make women do these roles first. This is really nice, though, because she plays it beautifully.
Yeah.
Her character of Lucy is really so genuine, so sweet, so earnest. I believe everything that's happening.
That's what I was going to say. I believe it. I believe she just got in way over her head.
Yes.
And got swept up.
Totally swept up.
And it's also the holidays, which is a difficult time for a lot of people.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and it's probably the first holiday she's had without her dad.
Totally solo.
And the family is so lovely and and involved.
Yeah.
And just smothers you in love and good cheer.
Yeah.
And this character doesn't have much assertiveness to her already,
Not an ounce.
which is demonstrated pretty well by her boss trying to convince her to work on Christmas Day as well.
Yeah, I called that the no family clause.
It's awful.
If you work shift jobs that you have to work through the holidays, people that don't have kids that expect them there Christmas morning are typically expected to take the fall for everybody.
But it sucks.
I get it. People should be there for their children, but it also just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate thing that we do, and we trap people into these cycles where they don't really have the autonomy to say no, because you'll either lose the job or maybe the holiday pay is enough that it's worth it to miss out on family time, which is like not a legitimate choice in my opinion, that like doesn't have free will in the equation in my opinion, because if you're so worried about making rent, then we've really messed up as a society, you know?
I want to protect her at all costs.
I love this character so much, and I thought I was going to hate it.
Yes.
We might as well hit that plot synopsis.
Let's do it.
Even though Lucy saves Peter's life when he falls on the train tracks, he still ends up in a coma.
Thanks to a massive misunderstanding and an enabling nurse, Lucy is mistaken for Peter's fiancé.
Things become even messier when she starts falling for Peter's brother, Jack. Shenanigans ensue.
Ay, ay, ay.
Oh, it's so bad. Jane told me before we listened that she ends up starting to fall for the brother, and I was like, absolutely not. How could this have gotten messier? I took out my red pen, and I wrote my notes in red because of all of the red flags I felt I was going to see in this film.
And then it just ended up being appropriate for Christmas.
I can't believe it. I'm shook.
Right?
How good this ended up working out.
I'm floored. Even with the brother thing, which is so messy, they managed to handle it in a way where you are rooting for these two because they don't cross any lines.
Nope, not once.
Could argue they're crossing emotional lines.
But you can't.
No one's actually doing anything about it.
She doesn't even know him.
No.
They're not actually engaged. Oh my gosh. We went through a lot of general thoughts already, so want to just jump into the tropes?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. We've got incredible use of narration. We have a really great meet cute. Sort of. One-sided?
Kind of.
I don't know. We have possibly the most incredible misunderstandings I've ever seen in a film.
And they keep adding to them is the thing.
It keeps getting worse and worse.
With the fiance thing, I was like, okay, that's a gigantic misunderstanding. And then the film keeps chucking more misunderstandings at you.
I think to myself, certainly, it can't get any messier than this. And boy, am I wrong.
And then it does.
Oh, we have a love triangle, square, messy love lives.
There's a lot going on.
We've got falling on top of each other. So funny. Always because it's snowing.
This was so cute.
We've got, mistletoe.
Uh-oh.
Because it's always a surprise that I have to be like, mistletoe.
Because it rhymes, and rhyming is fun.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
We have an extraordinarily meddling family. The
My
most meddling that ever
goodness.
meddled.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got the stupidest, the dumbest, stopping a wedding. Like, not just stopping a wedding, but the call is coming from inside the house.
Yes.
I'm crying.
Before it even gets to start.
Oh, boy. So, where do you want to start? I kind of just want to start on narration. Let's go
Okay,
back.
Let's do the narration.
Back to the beginning.
I wanted to do a time traveling machine noise.
Oh. Because it starts with that song, and we get a Chicago montage into a flashback narrated childhood montage. It's all so good.
Especially when she's like,
This will be
the opening song is so
everlasting
good.
love. This will be
The one I'm dreaming of. When she's like, this is my childhood or whatever. I don't remember it being so orange. I was like, what the self-aware narration. Come now.
Oh, please. Break the fourth wall on me.
Yes.
Do it all the time.
Do it more.
She goes on to mention driving around with her dad. I don't even remember the context, but she said when we were driving around in his sometimes working car, I was like, why are we being so specific?
Does it come back? No.
Nope.
Does it pay off in any way? No.
No. We just like the specificity. It makes me feel like this is an extremely reliable narrator.
Because they say a good lie requires specificity.
I just thought that someone who is so willing to be self-deprecative about her own memories is someone I can trust. I will say, once we get to the montage part where we show all the times where Lucy had seen Peter on his morning commute to work, I was, girl, unrequited, messy love psycho.
Get it together, girl.
I was like, oh no, this is bad.
I wanted to drench her with cold water.
You have never spoken to him.
Snap out of it.
Yeah, wake up. Look at me. Look at me. This isn't real. But it was such a good setup. I
Yeah.
feel like we got everything so quickly. And then we get the no family work coverage clause. And then immediately into the action.
It's an efficient setup.
Mm-hmm.
I want to jump to the end to talk about
The ending
stopping the
narration?
wedding.
Oh,
Do you want to do the ending narration first?
Really quickly. And then at the ending narration, the last little thing that they said is finally the title of the film.
Yes.
Which is that Peter asks, when did you find time to fall in love? And she says, while you were sleeping. They really could have done a better job on the title of this film. This is not great.
No, I was also thinking that was really shoehorned in there.
It was.
Her kind of sort of ex to be like, so when did you fall in love with Jack?
Right? Your now brother-in-law? Like,
Yeah.
why are you having this conversation?
That was my thinking too. It's like, why do you want to know?
Who cares?
This is all happening in a week.
And the family barely tolerates you. You're not a good guy.
It was so funny. They really wanted to have the name put in there somehow. They could have done a better job of it.
Truly. It was so thrown in at the end. They really bungled that. This is not a good name for a film.
I want to jump to the end and talk about the stopping of the wedding because it was hilarious. First of all, I'm like, what's the rush? This wedding is taking place inside like the little hospital chapel.
He's still on an IV.
Exactly. Peter's barely able to walk. Like, why is this all so rushed? Why can't they have a longer engagement? I don't understand.
It's because his godfather freaking put the fear of God into him.
But he just proposed to her again. He was like, get married tomorrow.
I don't know.
A shenanigan.
I think maybe he's having a real full-on come to Jesus moment where he's like, wow, I really have been an absolute shithead my whole damn life. Let's have a quickie wedding so that I can maybe force this woman to make me a better person.
Anyway, starting the ceremony.
And the priest says, we are gathered here today.
And Lucy's like, I have a confession to make.
And stop.
They don't get anywhere. We haven't gotten to the usual point.
No.
And she's just like, I'm in love with your son. And the dad's like, yes.
Yeah, we know.
I know. This is why we're all here.
She's like, no, wait. Oh, shit. Yeah, the other one.
It's so messy. It's so funny.
Oh, God.
And then when Peter's sort of fiance
Storms in.
saying like, I object.
And then the person who comes in with her responds, and I object to this objection because that's my wife.
It's so messy.
How? That was so unnecessary.
Yes.
Also, their relationship is such a damn mess. Peter and whatever her face.
Yeah.
The fact that he is paid for a significant amount of plastic surgery for this woman.
Well, she's married.
And then threatens to repo her nose.
That was wild.
What?
I have so many questions about that relationship.
Unhinged. They need to stop. Toxic.
Also, Peter's proposed to this woman and she's said no and gone off to Greece.
Yeah, for like 3 months.
And he wakes up from a coma. They telling him he's engaged to Lucy and he's not saying anything about the fact he's proposed to someone else. Like,
Well, I guess the whole reason why is she said no.
but when would he have had time to start a whole relationship with Lucy and propose to a different woman?
He thinks he has amnesia.
So silly.
So he's just trusting the process. Can we go through the list from beginning to end of all of the escalating misunderstandings?
My word.
I've never seen anything like this.
Well, where we start is the fiance thing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest.
So it's very simply, she rushes to the hospital after saving this guy's life on the tracks. She wants to go and follow him into ICU, and they say no, family only. So she's upset, and because she had unrequited love for this man, she whispers to herself, I was gonna marry him, which is just unhinged and just for her. But unfortunately, she said it out loud like an idiot. So the nurse heard and thinks this is the fiance.
Which, like, more questions, follow-up questions need to be asked.
I mean, it makes sense. The nurse now thinks this is the fiance, therefore she ushers her immediately into ICU so that she can stand by her man's side, theoretically. It's one thing for her to get ushered into the room as the hero. The family could know her as the hero that saved their son's life.
Which is already a great position to be in.
Yeah, but the nurse blows up her spot and insists this is the fiance, freaking everyone out. And as she tries desperately to correct it, but in her quiet little nervous voice of, no, I just actually, everyone kind of steamrolls her. And she finds out that grandma's had 3 heart attacks or, quote, episodes. And so she really shouldn't say anything. She doesn't want to kill her.
No.
And then the next misunderstanding is when poor Jack genuinely thinks
Oh, yes.
that Lucy is dating Joe Jr.
Freaking Joe Jr.
Joe freaking Jr., that absolute idiot, baby, lovely man.
Because Jack is trying to find Lucy and runs into Joe Jr. And Joe Jr. very confidently says, like, yeah, he and Lucy are an item. They are categorically not.
Except Jane, he invited her to Icecapades because he knows a guy.
And an invitation is basically a relationship. What could I be thinking? And so Jack is asking Lucy all these questions, trying to catch her out because he thinks he's got this massive gotcha card, but it amounts to nothing.
It's a big steaming pile of nothing. Joe is so delusional, but somehow so charming. Again, these characters are being acted in the most agreeable way. I like all of them.
Same. I hope it works out between him and the lady in apartment 3L or whatever.
Oh, I think they established it didn't, though.
Oh,
Remember,
no.
she lets him try on her shoes to try to make him feel better.
Oh, yes.
It's okay, he'll find somebody.
Yeah.
And then we go on to the misunderstanding of her being pregnant.
Because Lucy's coworker finds out she's engaged through, is it Jack's niece or something?
I think it's their younger sister.
Oh.
This younger woman, I believe Peter and Jack's younger sister, shows up at the toll booth with the coin and surprises Lucy and says hello, mentioning the fact that she's her soon-to-be sister-in-law, which then sets off Lucy's coworker into thinking, oh my gosh, why are you getting quickie engaged? You must be pregnant.
Yeah. Lucy says sarcastically, yes, I'm pregnant. And the sister's friend overhears.
Yeah.
And later tells the sister, which then makes its way around the family.
So funny. So she spreads it around the family for no reason. That sets Jack off. He goes to check on her again, and she's on her way to a party, which, why are you letting him come with you to this party? I don't understand. And then she's at the party, and she's trying to drink something with alcohol, and he kind of freaks out.
And he kind of announces in front of everyone that she's pregnant at the party.
Like, no.
So messy.
And the final additional misunderstanding is having this woman show up after months saying, what the heck, I will marry you. And now she thinks she's engaged. And on the way into the hospital, when Peter has come out of his coma, Lucy and this woman literally bump into each other.
Yeah.
Which is very funny. It's very well done. Obviously, that all blows up and none of that's actually happening. This woman is psycho. But boy, way to pile on misunderstanding after misunderstanding. Oh, whoa. What was that guy's name? Uncle Saul?
Oh, yeah? The Godfather?
Yeah. He also throws a wrench in the thing by not actually telling the family like he promised.
Yes.
And tricking Peter into actually asking Lucy for a legitimate engagement.
Yeah, by gaslighting him.
Literally.
That was wild.
What What a choice.
Especially after Lucy has asked him, nay, begged him repeatedly to break it to the family. Nope, I'm going to do the opposite of that.
So much of this film is just so wild and based on the insanity of these choices.
Yeah. Speaking of, I want to quickly touch on the mistletoe trope.
Oh, God, yes.
It's so dumb every time it shows up in a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
How it is handled is always awkward and funny and weird. And this time is no different because Lucy and Jack at the family home end up under the mistletoe and the whole family is watching like, ooh, mistletoe, go on, give her a kiss. And I'm like, why are we encouraging this with your sister-in-law to be?
No.
With the fiance in a coma, why is the whole family so invested in making them kiss?
I don't know. Doesn't someone yell, it's tradition?
Yes, they do.
So dumb.
Thankfully, it's just a peck on the cheek.
I was just thinking.
It's so funny.
Is there an argument to be made to adding to the tropes list
Mm-hmm.
the holy hell, what a weird monologue?
Holy hell, weird monologue, Batman.
Holy weird monologue, Batman. Ooh.
I think we can add it, yes.
Because the two monologues that both Lucy and Jack have at Peter's bedside while he's in the coma, unhinged. No one does that.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to have a monologue like that out loud. You're typically going to just be having that in your brain while you hold their hand.
Yeah.
And number two, the second one especially,
The second one was crazy.
Jack's doesn't make any sense. Like, way to build some extra exposition in really quick in the weirdest, most uncomfortable way. I don't understand why we've done this. And yet somehow Bill Pullman really commits. Listen,
That was some good acting.
acting award of the year. Whoa.
But it was so
Unhinged.
weird in that you have him playing this game of poker using medical sticks as the chips. And obviously, Peter's in a coma, so he can't play. And then just shoehorning in this metaphor about Jack learning how to play poker, and he was never jealous about Peter, even though he was like the golden boy, blah, blah, blah. And he never envied anything he had.
Except this time. And now he envies his fiancée. What? Excuse me?
The monologue with Lucy, I can still somewhat justify.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I get what you're saying about it would be inner.
Although also would be whispered, and
Yes.
there's no reason for Uncle Saul to be able to hear any of this.
How would he hear that in any case? The glass is solid. How? It would have been a good opportunity to bring back some of the narrator's voice, to have that
Yeah.
in her head.
I was thinking that.
But it still kind of makes sense, you know, now that she's actually sort of semi-met him. But the Jack monologue was just something else.
So bad.
But he committed so well.
Beautifully acted.
Yes.
One of the worst monologues ever written.
Props, my guy.
Literally, gotta give this guy his flowers. That was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hit any of the other ones, or should we move on to the shenanigans?
I don't think so. I think we can move on
Yeah.
to the shenanigans.
I feel like the rest of them get covered in the shenanigans anyway.
Starting off with a throwaway one is right at the top. We were like, oh, this is a Christmas movie where we see Lucy pulling the Christmas tree by leaning outside her window using some sort of string or rope or something because it's too big.
Hoisting it.
I don't know.
I don't know how she's established a pulley system outside her window, and that's supposed to be easier than bringing it up the stairs. Please explain to me. That one's so funny right at the top. And then we immediately go into establishing a lot about her life, including somebody in the building she really does like being Joe Jr.'s, uncle?
I thought it was his dad.
Oh, God, it's so funny.
What an entrance. What a character entrance.
And Joe Sr. is really trying to get his son married. I think he knows that the situation is desperate and that people could do a lot worse than a man who's going to inherit an entire apartment building.
Oh, Joe Jr.
Way to have the worst, most icky, annoying character turn into something actually truly charming by the end. That was a great character arc for a
Yeah.
throwaway character.
Yeah, and I like his and Lucy's back and forth as well.
Yeah. It shows a great amount of caring on both sides
Mm.
in such a small amount of screen time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm impressed. I'm impressed with that whole thing. It was very dumb, though, and I end up loving him by the end of it, and I really hope he can continue to cross-dress and feel completely fulfilled in his life.
Yeah.
Do you have a shenanigans?
I'm thinking. I have a couple of short ones.
Yeah.
So we have the family asking Lucy what made her fall in love with Peter, or what like drew her to Peter first.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, oh, his smile. And the dad's just like, yeah, well, he paid $60 a pop for those teeth.
Yeah,
so
that they're not even real.
he better have a good smile.
Meeting that family was so much fun.
The family is great.
They established so much information. You realize quickly that they all emotionally need her to be the fiance so that they can feel some sort of a sense of connection while they wait for him to come out of the coma. It's a dire situation, and she's acting as some sort of, salve on their heartbreak. And so you can really see why she would lie.
Yeah. Oh, the family is so sweet.
Without getting too into the weeds about all of it, the idea that she is by herself, she has not had a good Christmas in a long time, and even the Christmases she had, she was sans one parent in the first place and doesn't have siblings. Like, she's lonely.
Yeah.
And the fact that she gets to sit in their house with them at Christmas, and it's not about the gifts, but they still give her one anyway, and she's sitting cozy by a fire and a beautiful tree, and they've made her a stocking anyway at the last minute.
That tugged at my heart. That was so sweet.
Full warm fuzzies.
Because you can see her name was written in chalk on the stocking. Oh, that they're thinking of her, and how they really demonstrate the fact that the gift doesn't matter is that she gets given the gift and
She doesn't even open it.
Yeah, she's just sitting, leaning her chin on the gift, just watching the family do that Christmassy banter with each other. It's so beautiful.
I really felt that in my heart. Just so relatable to just want to have something cozy for the holidays, and how devastating it can be for people when they don't have that. Like, she needed this back. So it was a very symbiotic relationship. They all needed each other in this kind of beautiful way.
Yeah. Oh, another one of the short ones is Peter opening his eyes, waking up from the coma, and then the camera does something that's really fun. So we have Peter's POV panning across all the faces of his loved ones, all happy to see him, and lands on Lucy, and then moves over to the next one, and then moves back. Like, wait, who are you?
I didn't even realize it. That's so funny.
It's so funny.
Oh, love that.
Do you have a shenanigan?
Speaking of the family, another one that they did is while Peter is still in the coma, she goes over to dinner on a totally other night. And the dinner scene where we got our opening quote this time is also just lovely. It's a little bit chaotic. The entire family is mildly casually racist, but in the kind of way that you find charming and not really offensive. And they are just so funny. Like, watching the dynamic of people talking at each other and being a little, like, bizarre at this family table, and watching her be a part of it. Again, just more establishing how delightful the family dynamic is and how much she's hungry for it. So fun.
They do a good job of setting that up. How Lucy and the family really need each other.
So lovely.
And I think that's kind of part of the reason why she agrees to marry Peter when he officially proposes.
Oh yeah, she's there for the family.
Yeah, she's fallen in love with the family, and she's very subtly pitched at Jack by asking, is there any reason I shouldn't marry Peter? Long, pregnant pause with tension. And then Jack just says, no, nothing I can think of.
Number one, you're lying.
Yeah.
Your brother is a tool.
Yeah,
Number
yeah.
two, you love each other. God damn it, Jack.
And I was like, Jack, my guy, even if you didn't want to confess your love to this woman, you could have at least warned her a bit about your brother.
Correct. Period. Oh, Oh, I have another fun one.
Okay.
And it's pretty quick. After Jack has done some shoddy investigative work and decides that Joe Jr. is...
Sorry, I'm laughing so much because it is atrocious.
It's not good.
He does not have a future as a PI, is all I'm saying.
He works with his hands, not his head. So he ends up deciding that Joe Jr. is the boyfriend and blows up her spot in front of the entire family bedside the next morning. And in order for Lucy to prove that she is, in fact, the fiancé she is not,
Oh, my word.
they all demand that she prove it in some significant way. And so she reveals to the family that he only has one testicle.
That's so funny because the shenanigan I was going to bring up was the setup for how she knows this.
Perfect.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
We were on the same page, same page.
Yes.
And why do we know he only has one testicle? Take it away, Jane.
I was wondering, where are we going with this bit of plot when Lucy's at the lifts and a colleague of Peter comes along and they're having a conversation. He's like, oh, you're the fiancé. Somehow intimating that she knew about the accident. And he's like, oh, it wasn't my fault that he had a sharp knife in his pocket while they were playing tennis or something.
No, it was... So she's at the lift, and he thinks this is a fiancé, and he's like, the accident that happened, it was me. You know it was an accident, though, right? And she has no freaking idea, so she very much blows him off and just gives him a, yep, sure, accident. And he interprets her brushing him off and her confusion with sarcasm and a pointed remark towards him. And so he freaks out. He's like, no, it was an accident. I had a pencil in my pocket during racquetball or something to that effect. And so I guess the accident is that he fell with the pencil in his pocket and this guy landed dick first onto the pencil. I don't really know how this happened.
Don't know how they're playing badminton or whatever. But I guess. So with that little bit of plot, because we never see this colleague ever again, I was like, where is this going? Until it pays off. And I was just like, this poor man, because then they were trying to decide who must have a peek at Peter's nether regions. Man is in a coma and his family's drawing straws, essentially.
It's so unhinged.
To corroborate the story of someone who they're not sure is his fiancé or not.
And, like, it's the weirdest way to try to clear up this whole thing. It's all really ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I have a shenanigan of when Lucy is in Peter's apartment looking for the cat to feed it. And she's like, yeah, kitty, kitty, kitty. Yeah, rich kitty.
I love the entire setup, too, because she makes that entire determination because the hospital has given his personal effects to her. And she sees a can of cat food and immediately rushes over because she cares so much for the animal, which was very sweet.
Yes.
And then to have Jack show up also, accuse her of being a liar because he doesn't have a cat.
Yes. And then the cat appears.
Magically.
Amazing. And also, we have a little bit of a shenanigan where she opens the door and basically breaks his nose.
Yep. We love that.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you entering the house and you know someone's there and you're not announcing yourself?
Yeah. He's trying to catch her out.
Oh, whatever. That's a good way to get pepper sprayed.
Or a swift kick to the groin.
That too. And I know she can do it. I watched Miss Congeniality.
Yes, I was just thinking about that. She decided to go for the nose this time,
Yep.
Do you have anything else?
Oh, another little thing that I thought was really sweet was they established throughout the course of the film that Jack is meant to inherit his father's estate purchasing business, that they go to estate sales of people who've passed and buy nice belongings and then resell them. He's really not into it. He might be good at it and it's good money, but what he really is passionate for is his custom woodworking. And he makes beautiful pieces, which we discover during one of the times where they go to Peter's apartment to drop off a love seat.
Yeah.
And Lucy makes a mistake thinking that the lovely, beautiful wooden rocking chair is actually the gift, and discovers then that Jack builds and is actually an incredible craftsman. And I love that they gave him the arc of coming clean with his father. And not only is the father okay with him following his passion, but is beautifully supportive.
So supportive.
And doesn't make him feel bad. He just makes a joke about, I wish you would have told me sooner. I would have sold it for 2x to your uncle. Like, that's so funny. And just really is happy with him doing what he loves and that he finally came clean about it. Just this entire family is so beautiful.
Yeah, they're stunning. I have a couple quick ones to hit.
Mm-hmm.
So Jack gives this whole speech to Peter about what makes Lucy tick and her idiosyncrasies and how unique she is and wonderful. And Peter's just like, no, that's not it. What could it be? And then Jack, in frustration, sort of walks off. And then Peter starts rambling to himself. And he's like, wait, I don't think I'm making any sense. Am I making any sense? And the nurse is like, no, but that's pretty common after a head injury. I thought that was so funny.
I really did like that. Jack walking off, brutal, bud.
Yeah. He's like, I just poured out my heart and you just dismissed it. And this woman is so wonderful and you can't see it. And then the last little one that I want to cover is the church scene with the family.
Yes.
That's so chaotic.
Yes.
And hilarious. I won't go into too much of it, but one of my favorite moments is when I think it's the granny who asks, how did he become a priest? He takes marijuana. And then the whole congregation goes, amen.
And also just the shushing and the way they gaslight the guy behind them.
Yes.
Y'all are being loud and messy in church. Relax. And then the last thing I want to talk about is just the beautiful moment after they spilled blue mystery liquid on Peter's carpet.
What did they break?
They broke a vase,
But filled with what?
I don't know why he had blue liquid in there.
I don't know.
It was fake flowers. I guess he just filled it for aesthetic? I don't know. Rich people things. And so when they come back downstairs, Jack discovers that he's been fully boxed in with his van, so he's got to leave it there. And he decides to walk Lucy home, and their conversation and their banter and their comfortability with one another, all of it is so beautiful.
It was one of the sweetest scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It felt so natural. It felt so organic, the way they're just talking to each other and walking. It was really lovely watching that unfold.
I was so impressed with it. Everything about it. No one crossed any lines, but you could see the connection form in that moment, and it made the rest of the film make such good sense.
You can really see the emotional intimacy being built in this walk. And then, is it the scene where then it culminates in them slipping on the ice together at her apartment? Yeah, I think it does.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you have the closeness of the physical intimacy as well, after they've spent all this time getting to know each other. So then when they're holding onto each other, trying not to fall on the ice, that tension is so much more palpable because we've spent time building this connection.
It's really sweet. The chemistry is incredible between those two.
I was really glad they took the time to give the scene the space to breathe.
Yeah.
Like, we really needed it.
I don't think this film works without it.
Exactly.
Because it's still the brother of the coma guy.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Especially because her infatuation with Peter is so extreme.
Mm-hmm.
I like that we got time with these characters to see, like, oh, they like each other.
Mm-hmm.
Look at them connecting.
So sweet.
Well,
that brings us to a
fun fab fail.
Despite all preconceived notions and my attitude going in, this is a solid fun bordering on fab.
What a comeback. I was sitting with maybe not arms literally crossed, but metaphorically crossed.
And brows physically furrowed.
Yes.
For me.
It's a solid fun.
And like, honestly, on that merit alone, I would maybe argue a soft fab.
For me, I'm going to stick with a good, fun, pending rewatch.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't as giddy as I am with like a straight up fab, you know?
Yeah. There is a giddiness element.
Yeah. And it would be interesting to see what a rewatch does.
Yeah.
If you're not coming in with the attitude of like, this is going to be a train wreck.
Right. Like, how much is the overcompensating coloring my opinion? And also, too, to be fair, this is an older film.
Yeah.
And I'm always a little clenched for those, and this was pretty great.
This is almost 30 years old.
Ugh.
That's wild.
Ugh. And it really turned me around.
Baby Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. And again, this was going to be our Halloween episode because we really thought it would be a hot mess express.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just Joe Jr.
And even him, I wasn't afraid of him.
No.
He's just trying his best. He just wants to be loved.
He lives in a world of toxic masculinity and he hasn't figured out how to reject it.
That too.
And it's okay.
Mm-hmm. It's okay, bud.
You are enough, Joe Jr.
What a dark horse.
Literally. I have never been more surprised. Just a good fun.
Yeah. So much fun, especially working uphill.
Mm-hmm.
Uphill fight.
Well, what time is it?
Our favorite segment time.
Yeah!
Give me the cheese, please. Gimme.
All right. So, 3, 2,
1. Leftover
Emmental.
pizza. Well, I mean, because we've moved this around now, I don't
Who knows?
know where.
I would suggest rock, paper, scissors, but I can't see you.
Unless you shout out what you've chosen.
No, we've had enough mess in this episode.
Rock, paper, scissors, paper.
Okay, I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with Emmental, which is a classic Swiss cheese. The big thing is an American Swiss cheese is going to be on the nuttier side, but an Emmental is considered a little bit more buttery.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have something mild. This is not the ooeyest, gooeyest plot. Neither is it the funniest plot. It's just a nice, semi-solid in-between of the things, right? Much like this cheese. But I felt like most importantly, this cheese is best for melting into a fondue like it melted my cold, judgmental heart. And that alone is why it had to be an Emmental.
Excellent. Sticking on theme with our expectation of this film
Yeah.
is that the concept of leftover pizza, we all know it's good, but when you think about it, it shouldn't be.
Right?
Like, why is it? And then you reheat it, and it's the best thing ever. It's so unexpected. It's not giving a previous cheese of mine, which is day-old Philadelphia rolls or something like that.
Yeah.
It holds up in so many ways in terms of how it aged, in terms of what your expectation is, in terms of like, oh, what a pleasant surprise to open the box and you discover 2 pieces of leftover pizza, which you can have for breakfast, and who can judge you because it's become a common thing.
Yeah.
It's become an acceptable thing to do.
I love that.
So
A real surprise.
that's really it. What a surprise. And I'm sure people who are very familiar with this film and it's one of their favorites are like screaming at us. Of course it's amazing.
Listen, the premise does not do it any favors,
Right.
and the name is not great.
I'm such a fan of this film.
Yeah, that was fun.
And I wasn't expecting to be.
Although I will say, I was quite giddy at the very, very end when Jack shows up for the proposal at Lucy's coin kiosk and puts the ring in the slot instead of the coin for the fare.
Aw.
That was so dumb, and I really loved it.
It did make me smile quite broadly.
And the whole family came.
Yes, and they all pitching in being the meddling family that they are, and it's like, get down on one knee, it's his proposal, let him do it, he is doing it. And then she teases him after the ring drop, and he's like,
Yes.
can I come in?
It's my favorite part.
And she's like, No.
Not without paying the fare.
Yeah. So cute.
Delightful.
It's cute enough to the fact that I'm ignoring. They've only known each other a week and she was engaged to be wed to his brother not even 2 days ago.
I didn't even think about it. That's how sweet it was. I was like, yeah, legit.
Have they even been on a date?
Well, that walk could count as a date. Actually, he came to a party with her too. That's 2 dates. Oh boy. Well, there you have it. That was our discussion of While You Were Sleeping.
Let us know your thoughts on the movie, any shenanigans we may have missed, or what cheese you think it is.
You can follow us on Instagram at shenanigansensuepod, or you can email us at shenanigansensuepod@gmail.com.
We hope you'll join us next time, and until then, life doesn't always turn out the way you plan. Bye!
Bye! If you were going to travel somewhere because you had nothing in your passport, where would you go?
I want to see the Northern Lights so
Oh,
bad.
that's a good choice.
Yeah, what about you?
Now that you've said that, I had the best layover in Finland, and now I just want to go to more of Scandinavia.
I want to go to a Christmas market. The little towns that look like gingerbread houses.
I want to stay in a nice hotel.
Yes.
Okay, I'll meet you there this winter.
See you there.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.